Hey everyone, it's Bijal Palmer, the COO of Financial Freedom, and we have a very special interview coming up. We received a message in the Help Center from Jerry. He's a father of 4 children who had bought Financial, and he told us about what he's been doing with his family. I was so inspired by the email message. I reached back out to him and said, hey, I'd love to get you on an interview to meet your family and really understand what you as a fundamental parent is doing to help your kids go through the Financial Freedom Program. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce Jerry and his family.
Yes, so our oldest girl here is Ali Mae. She's 7.5. And then Sarah is 6. And Fia is 4. And Morris is just turned 1. And Maeve and myself, Jerry. That's the team.
That's the team. That's the board of advisors, the board of directors,
yes,
the CEO, the COO, and everything in between. That's awesome. Yes. Starting them young. So Jerry, we call you guys the fundamental parents because you're teaching the kids the fundamentals right from the get-go. So how do you come across Financial Freedom?
So I was at a seminar in Birmingham and Paul O'Mahony was presenting at it. And that's how I got to follow Paul O'Mahony. And I was following his workshops then, and I did a course of his. And then when he was promoting Financial, because I was following Robert Kiyosaki and all those, I just felt this is perfect for the kids. This is exactly what they need. And bought the course, and I thought it was brilliant because I was even learning stuff from it. So yeah,
I think that's really important, Jerry, because when I joined Financial back in early 2020, I started going through the content. I was like, my first reaction was, man, I wish I'd learned this stuff when I was a kid. So I think a lot of people think that, hey, this is for kids. It's designed for kids to be, for kids to consume the content, but the education is the same whether you're a kid, a teen, a young adult, or even a grown adult for that matter. But so did you go through the course first and then kind of introduce it to your kids? How did you kind of go through that process?
Yeah, so because it was coming monthly, I would sit down every Sunday and cover the month's course and do an hour with them every Sunday. And then I suppose where the important part was to take action then. So we started first with the car wash business, and that went really well. And what they learned from it was, look, there's hard work involved. There was money to be made, but what killed the business in the end was the weather got good in Ireland and the hose pipe ban came in and we had to stop. So I think that was a fundamental learning for them, that you can have your business set up, everything going well, and something happens and it stops.
So who was the CEO of the car washing business? Who took charge of that?
So our oldest girl here, she's a little bit on the shy side. Sarah is more our sales rep.
Understood. Okay.
So what we had done was they did a flyer and we went around the estate. So there's 30 houses and we had 8 regular customers. Then they would come once a month.
I love this. Let's break this down. So you had a plan. You did your marketing. So you got your flyers out there. Who went and dropped the flyers off?
So the girls went around and dropped them off. Mostly Sarah, because she's good at the sales rep. So they drew up the flyer, put it in the door, like what Financial says. And within a half hour, an hour, we were getting text messages to say, yes, we'd love to get our car cleaned. And
awesome.
I suppose,
so you did your marketing, you've got your client acquisition going on.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the delivery of the product. Let's talk about how you guys actually, did people come to you? Did you go to them?
So they came to us, they texted us, and we set up a time and we gave them a time slot. And so it was half an hour per car. And so then when they came down, what we learned as well in Financial is to over deliver. So it wasn't just washing the car. We had a big lavender plant where we cut it up into small pieces, tied it up as an air freshener. We also checked the oil in the car and the water for the windscreen wiper. So we over-delivered. Then Ali Mae then went with her check sheet and went around and checked everything was done on the car, like the wheels were clean, the windscreen was clean, the back was clean.
You know, what I love about this is that your board meeting just sounds like our leadership meeting. It's no difference. There's screaming and yelling going on. It's the same. It's the same. There's nothing unusual about what's going on. We're just a lot older. We just scream a lot louder.
Yeah, I do project management, and they say the 5 stages of a project team is forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning.
That's very good. Now, okay, so kind of, I'm going to say fun aside, but let's talk about it. Like, so obviously there's the doing of the steps. Hey, start a business, make some money, whatever. That's great. And I would say, hey, I don't ever want to say it's not about the money. But to me, the making how much is not important. To me, it's the implementation, the learning that comes out of this. I think what a lot of parents don't think about is that they think, oh, this is not the right time for my kids to be making money. And I kind of, as a parent, I kind of disagree, because I believe when you give children context for learning, all of a sudden, all the other stuff that they may be learning in school, which today may not have context because it's just forced upon them, becomes relevant. Like mathematics becomes relevant. English becomes relevant because now you have to write things on flyers and you have to communicate to people. So all these things that schools attempt to teach, and kids go, but I don't want to learn that. Now, I believe when we give them a context, they all of a sudden start getting interested in other subjects. Did you find that in any shape or form?
Absolutely. I think the reading and writing one was a big one for us, because they've started to write their own books now, and we've included the whole financial story into the book.
I love that.
And that's where it's making homework, because I know for Sarah, she was never really interested in homework, and Ali Mae was. Now Sarah is more interested in doing her homework and doing her writing and reading, because she knows how important it is if she wants to write her own book. Because Mummy here, Maeve, wrote a book and it's on Amazon. It's Splash in the Sun, and that really inspired these to do their book. Yes, definitely. Also, with the most recent business, for the brown bread that they deliver weekly, Ali Mae writes it down, who gave how much money. She's keeping good records. So that's her writing skills again, shows how important it is, and to understand how to read.
I think there's so many lessons that can come out of the simple act, right? You've got basic accounting, right? You've got asking people for money. And as silly as that sounds, it's number one reason that a lot of people struggle in business, because they are afraid to ask. They're afraid to actually receive money. Yeah. So getting kids over these fears at a very young age and making it almost natural. These are fundamental. What we call character building skills that, as adults, the stuff that a lot of people struggle with. They'll be like, well, I've been doing this since like 5. Like, what's the deal?
Takes that fear. You're right. I know for Maeve and myself, I have a farm, and Maeve has her own swimming business. And it's like that. It was that fear when we started off doing the accounts, the keeping the receipts and all that. They're learning that now at the age of 7, 6, 5. It's gives them those skills for life.
I've always said that. People say, well, what age is this program good for? And I've always kind of said, well, probably you're 8 and 9. But it's really awesome to hear. And it's just funny, this morning on my walk, I was like, there isn't any reason why kids as young as 3, 4 can't start learning this if parents take the time to be involved with them, right? I believe that's a really key part of this, that if parents are thinking, hey, I'll buy this, give it to my kids, and they're going to go off and become, business owners, I don't feel that's the right approach. I really, truly believe that when parents take a little bit of an active role and support their kids and kind of inspire their kids, I think the whole family benefits. Like, I can't imagine a parent going through this with the kids, not saying, maybe I should start doing some of this stuff in our household,
That was the biggest learning for me. I was actually learning from financial, as embarrassing as it might sound, when they start going through the very elementary stuff of money and how it came about and what's interest, what's compound interest. These kids know this stuff now. And a funny one, Maeve came into us there one day. We'd spent 2 hours at FUNancial, and Maeve said, it's not all about money. There's more important things to life than money. And Ali Mae said, yeah, time is more important than money. And that was what was in FUNancial. So
that's a great answer. Absolutely. And when we learn to to make and manage money in the best time possible, it gives us time back, so the time you're putting in as a parent today is going to not only help them financially in the future, but allow them to get time back and have a far more freedom in their life.
Yeah, and we've never given these kids pocket money. They go out and they earn it and they have their own money, and the end goal for them is to have money to go to Disneyland. So that's what's driving them on to do all the businesses.
That's awesome. So they've got a very clear goal. Let me ask you, so now you've got the Disneyland, say Disney World goal. Have they created a vision board with that on there?
Yes, so they have vision boards. They have all the things that they want to do on the vision boards. And actually, maybe further on in the talk, I did a presentation where I was showing it to people at work, the whole financial thing and all the businesses they'd set up. So I can show it to you or email it to you later.
Oh, that'd be great.
You can see all the steps that they've gone through and all the business. But one other important thing that we learned and the kids learned from financial is giving back to charity. And at Christmas, we did reindeers and snowmen. And I have the pictures there if you want to see it. I don't know if I can share now on this or...
Yeah, you can. Is it on your laptop?
Yeah, I have it on the laptop.
Yeah, let me give you permission to share. 1 second. I think you should already have permission. Let me just make sure you have that.
So tell me if you can see my screen now.
I see it now.
So basically, I had done this a couple of months back, and then I just finished it off just because if the opportunity came up, I was going to show it. So this basically, we came up with a name for their company, if you like, the Sparkly Angels. And this was us at Christmas when we were making the snowmen and the reindeers. And so, as I say, it started off with the car washing business. It went on for 5 weeks. We were doing 6 cars on a Sunday. I tell you, this fella here was getting very tired in the end. It was hard going. So I was actually delighted when the hosepipe band came in because it was busy for me on Sundays.
Before we want to move on to business number 2, but let's go back for 1 second. Yep. This is really cool because what you did, you pivoted, right? There's a situation outside your control. There's nothing you could do about it. Now you could have just, stomped your feet and said, "Oh my God, my business just got collapsed," which is what most adults do, right? Or you did what you did, which is your corporation, Sparkly Angels Corporation, made a pivot because of external circumstances. So tell us how you pivoted.
And basically, we came up with the next plan. What will we do next? This business is gone. We also kind of discovered that even though it was a good little business, it was a lot of hard work for not an awful lot of money. So we kind of said, is there anything else we can do that would give a better return on the investment and time? So what we did was we planned for the next seasonal thing, which was Christmas. So I sourced timber from a friend of mine, got it for free. And what we set out to do with this time was that we were going to give 50% of the money to charity. That was one that was close to our heart. A friend of ours that had motor neuron and had passed away. So we decided whatever we make, we'll give 50% to charity.
How did you bring that up with the kids? Like, how did you and the family decide what to donate the money to? Was it charity first, or did you kind of say, hey, we should donate something? Who should we donate it to?
It was both. This person was close to us all in the family. He was an elderly person, but he used to call to the house a lot, and he was a very creative type of a person. And all the kids knew him well. And so I think through financial, we realized that you have to give back because, it's like the 4 jars, and it's like spend, save, invest, and 10% to charity. And that was the model that we wanted to use all along with all the businesses. But for this one, we wanted to give a bit more back, especially the person that donated the timber. It was for his father. So we just explained to them. And as you can see, we generated €340 for IMNDA, which is the motor neuron disease charity. But the kids also made €340. People really loved, especially, I just go to the first one, the reindeers. People were going mad for the reindeers, and the kids were colouring in the eyes and putting on the bobbin and putting on the anklers. And you can see here for the snowmen, like I was making them, but the kids were colouring them in and putting on the scarves and doing the work there. So was a great family thing to do as well. It was great excitement. So we really enjoyed it.
Now, tell me, what's the relationship between the kids and money today? Like in terms of what it was before and what it is now. Are you getting the feel that they're starting to get a feel and understanding of money as a tool, as something that's different to what it was before?
Absolutely. So basically they'll be getting money from grandparents and cousins and all that, and they get it, and next thing they'd end up losing it, fivers and tenors, and they put it somewhere and they forget about it. And I made this for them then, finish short. I don't know if you can see my screen now. So basically there's 4 jars, that recycle jars, and I made up a timber box for it. And on top then you have the save, spend, invest, and give to charity.
That's
and
awesome.
You can see the money that's in there now. Anytime you did anything, it's put in here. It's not lost anymore. And when it comes to the spend, because it's screwed down, they're bringing this down to me saying, "Can you open the screws? I want to take out some money to spend."
Aha, got it.
So I made up one for each one of them.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic.
So because of that, they have a much more appreciation for money. They understand the value of it now. They understand, they come to me and they would say, "Oh, I want a Barbie or whatever," and I say, "Well, why don't you take it out of your own money and go into town and buy it?" So that they appreciate it more, definitely.
So when you first, obviously as a parent, you saw this, you thought, "Oh, this is really cool." You got the program, you logged in, you went through a few videos. How do the kids watch the videos with you, or do you kind of watch the videos and then just teach the kids?
So I would watch it with the kids, and at the end of each section, each 2 or 3 minutes, what it goes on for, I'd ask them, "So what did you learn there? What is interest? What is compounding? What does Warren Buffett do? What's more important than money?" And I'm always challenging them and questioning them. And even if I know when I go to do it again a few weeks later and I know what's going to come up, I'll ask them beforehand, what is interest? What is compounding? What is a credit card? Is a credit card good or bad? So they're learning as they go along, and they do know it. And even last week, we're bringing stuff to charity, old clothes and stuff that we weren't using anymore. And Ali May said, one man's rags is another man's riches. So, again, learning from FUNancial the importance of, giving back. And yeah.
That's wonderful. Now, so your oldest daughter is 7?
7.5, yeah.
The youngest?
Is 1. So
okay.
My youngest daughter is 4.
So your youngest daughter is 4, okay. So what's the difference in terms of information understanding between the 7 and the 4-year-old? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I would say for our 4-year-old Fia, she's not really understanding it. She's too young for it, but she gets in on the fun with it. So she enjoys especially when we're doing car washes, they were having water fights and stuff. So she gets in on that side of it. What we're seeing with our oldest girl, Ali May and Sarah, is one is more of the worker that gets the stuff done, which is Ali May, and Sarah is more the person that goes out and drums up the business, is the sales rep, is the one that's kind of coming up with the ideas. So for instance, there a couple of weeks ago, there was conkers falling off the horse chestnut tree, and Sarah was like, "I want to sew these into pots so I can sell them next year." So she's always coming up with ideas. And have you got your envelopes there? She came in one day and asked me, "How is an envelope made?" So I dismantled it, and she said, "Can you photocopy it? Because I want to start making envelopes." So photocopied a load of them, and she started making them up. So
that's awesome. So we can already start seeing personality emerge in terms of their potentially even future roles, right? You've got doers, you've got creatives, you've got the CEOs, you've got COOs. And it's interesting to see. And as a parent, when we start seeing these traits emerge, we can then better guide their future in terms of careers, subject matters, versus it being very, as I said, when we're teenagers, we're making one of the biggest career decisions of our life when we are in our teens without knowing anything about ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
And at least this way, as you now watch your kids grow from 7 to 17, you're going to be far more aware of what they're good at, what they struggle with, and maybe even guide their career choices based on their own personality.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more. And that really came out in the last few weeks, especially when we're, say for the brown bread, when we wanted to deliver, we were all up early, we were all up at 6 o'clock and everyone was doing their bit. But you could see Ali May wanted to do the brown bread more and Sarah wanted to deliver it. So you could really, it's so true what you're saying. You can see the personalities coming out of them, who's going to be doing what in the future. So
very cool. Do any of the kids want to share what they've what they've enjoyed doing?
Sarah, do you want to say what you've enjoyed doing with FUNancial? They're very shy. Actually, they're really excited when they said the boss of FUNancial wants to talk to us.
Well, I'm really proud of you. Like, you can't see it, but like I'm a little teary here just hearing a story, because this is exactly why we started the company and why we do what we do, is just to hear these stories. This makes my week, actually. So this is just so awesome, because I found this in a kind of a very unusual way, because in 2010, me and my family had to leave the US. We had some immigration challenges. My application didn't go through, so we had to leave. And so I had to pull my kids out of school. They were 5 and 10 at the time. So we traveled for 5 years, and through that 5 years, we did a lot of experiential learning versus book learning. And those experiences, they'll remember for their life, right? The book stuff comes and goes, but it's these experiences, they won't forget what it's like to start a car wash, what it's like to make these gifts for people, what it's like to be able to donate to a charity and stuff. And these experiences is what you're creating. As a fundamental parent here, you're allowing your kids to learn through experience, which is so far more ingrained in them than the book knowledge.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I think a kind of a secret goal we have that they don't know about yet is, our goal for them is that they have the financial IQ to put themselves through college. That, even though they might be in college and they might be running low on money, that they can say, look, I go baking bread. I made money when I was a child baking bread. This will pay for my night out during college or whatever. So, and it's just to give them that skill. For me, it's not about how much they make; it's about how much they learn.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. So what words of advice do you have for parents thinking about becoming a financial freedom family member, or even families or mums and dads who already bought the program but struggling to figure out how to best work with their kids through this?
Yeah, I think for us, it does take dedication on the parent side. It's not a matter of putting on the laptop and tell them to watch this. It really does involve spending time with them when they watch each section to say, what did you learn here? And then kind of motivating them, saying, look, okay, what business do you want to do next? It takes a bit of time and effort. But by the time we were getting to the third and fourth business with them, they were coming up with the ideas themselves. They were the ones that were saying, would we do this? And then we'd row in behind and say, okay, we'll help you. And we'd send out maybe a WhatsApp message to the estate, or here, we'll do the flyers. What's a good name for the brown bread? So we came up with the name Granny's Brown Bread. So
even everything from naming to branding to business ideas to making money to saving money. I mean, you've truly embraced the teachings of FUNancial. You're seeing the benefits. You've made more than the program cost, which is relevant in this conversation. But that's just in year one. I mean, we're talking about a lifetime of what can happen with these fundamental skills in place.
Absolutely. And do you know what? The course FUNancial, it's the name is so hits the nail on the head. We've been having so much fun throughout all this. It's brought us together as a family. It's given us a common kind of interest, a common goal that we can all just go out and do. Like the car wash, I'd be scrubbing with the brush, and these people going out with the hose and squirting me with the hose and getting a great laugh out of it. So it was good fun. It brought the community together as well, because they're always coming down saying, what are you doing next? They're willing to support. It kind of gets the whole thing going, it's especially during COVID when we all had to stay in our own house and we couldn't do it. These set up 4 businesses during the biggest crisis that we've ever seen, let alone they'll ever see. So it just shows all the people that were out of work, you can actually go out and do something.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people, sat back and took handouts and stuff. And you did the exact opposite. You said, no, look, I'm going to teach my kids that we don't have to be the victims of circumstance. We can be proactive, and that's so powerful. And that's at some point in life, they'll understand the importance of that, hey, when the odds are against you, you don't sit on the couch and just binge watch Netflix all the time. There is something you can do as a family. And I use the word family very deliberately here to come up with creative ideas, and not to be a victim of circumstance. So I applaud you and the family for kind of taking that stance and just, making that time. I mean, when we as adults, when we decide to have kids, we are investing in their future. And when parents say, I'm just too busy, I kind of say, well, but your kid's future is at stake. And I don't mean that very lightly. I mean, it literally is, because without some of these core skills that they're learning, they may struggle more in life, right? And yet you're giving them the tools right now, the skill sets right now, that you could pretty much drop them anywhere in the world. And if they apply even what they've learned to date, they will find a way to thrive.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And it's that kind of relationship, to try and teach them to kind of haggle a little bit, to go out and say, listen, are you interested in buying this? And I think these are skills that are lost in these generations compared to when we were growing up, because everything is handed to them. They have it too easy now, so to speak. It brings it back to starting from nothing. This is how we have to get on.
And also, I suppose, the end result, Disneyland is such a huge incentive for them. We booked the holiday last night, and it's kind of an extra holiday now for us this year. So we all get to enjoy it. So all the hard work we've put in for the last 2 years is major now when they...
And I believe, when I look at how the brain develops between kind of the age 5 to 16, that the sooner we can introduce these concepts, the more fun it becomes. The key thing here is fun. When you introduce this to, say, older kids, and they look at it as work, they're more likely to push it away. It's like, well, this is work. But right now, and this is what I think a lot of parents don't get, that this should be a fun family activity, right? It brings you together, but it also has an end result. Like in your case, the holiday is the end result. Well, not the end, but it's a something that you're working towards, the vision. You've got very specific goals of saving. And the family has now something there's a togetherness that brings you together to achieve this. And I think a lot of families are missing a reason to come together. So I think that's just awesome how you guys have rallied around the concept of fun, but yet have a financial objective, which is the vacation to work towards.
Absolutely. And even just to get back to the financial, they've learned a lot from just going out doing the work, but they've learned so much from just sitting, listening. And the fun part of financial, they're always laughing at Pom when he's running off doing something or falling, or so it entertains them, it keeps them engaged. And it really is, like, it's such a great course that I couldn't recommend it highly enough to people, that it's a fraction. What we paid for it is a fraction of what they've made so far on the businesses that they've done, and they're only at it maybe a year and a half.
Wow, that's amazing. Hey, good question. So the presentation that you were showing me, who did you share that with?
So it was a group at work in my department, and we have a section during projects updates where you just you do something fun. You show them a bit about yourself, your own personality. So I presented this to that group, and they were amazed. They really thought it was brilliant. How the kids had the enthusiasm to get involved. I think it's a little bit of, when they see you doing it, the kids want to do it. They want to get involved, and it's just about nurturing that. And now, as I say, Sarah is coming up with ideas, and she wants to do things, and I'm thinking, oh, that's not going to work. But just let her do it and let her find out for herself. And then all of a sudden, it does work. So it's important for us not to teach them what we know about money, because they'll end up like us.
Well, exactly. My younger daughter just turned 17, and I bought her a kind of a book called "I Will Teach You to Be Rich," and I wrote a letter to her with the book. I said, "Hey, for your 17th birthday, I'm going to teach you to be rich." I said, and then below that, so I won't teach you, because I wasn't taught this stuff at a young age, so I didn't make all the right decisions. But this book, should you choose to follow it, will. And this is, and she's a bit older, so she's more in the book's more about, 401ks, and we're obviously here in the US, Roth IRA, so it's the next level up. But the concept's the same, right? Is that when we as parents give our kids the tools, and then we can't control what they will and won't do with the tools and knowledge that we give them. We have fingers crossed that they do the right things, but there's a certain point that they will transition into young adults and pretty much reject a lot of what we taught them. But the fundamentals will be there. They'll never forget. And after they've gone through their teenage rebellious years and wanting to be different from mommy and daddy, they'll circle back around and think, well, you know what, mom and dad actually did set us up with the wisdom, and that's what it's about. We have a very small period of time as parents to set our kids up for success, financial success, health success, relationship success. And as much as the schools are there to teach them, it doesn't always give them, the schools are, at least in the US, under such constraints of what to teach and how to teach, that some of this stuff is literally like one module or a few hours in their entire schooling year. So we as parents we have no choice. If we want to truly want the best for our kids, we have to be what I call fundamental parents, which means teaching the kids the fundamentals of life. The younger the better, because they form the habits, they overcome their fears, they establish the good characteristics, and we hope as parents that it serves them for life.
Absolutely. And as you said at the start, if someone had shown me this when I was their age, that's the way I look at it. Look at the head start they have. And Paul, I follow Paul all the time, and he's a big fan of Robert Kiyosaki like me. And he was saying, like, do you want to set your kids up for a life of debt, which is mortgage and car loans and college fees, or do you want to set them up for a life of prosperity? And that's what we're trying to do, is give them the tools, as you say, so that they can figure it out and make their own money, maybe pay for themselves through college, maybe come to college with some money, and then snowball it from there, maybe set up a business that generates passive income. So that's kind of the goal for us, to let them learn and make the mistakes when they're young, instead of time to make it back.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the key thing, is they'll learn that failure is not the end of the world. It's just simply a chance to recalibrate and do something different, right? And I think as adults, when we fail, we take it so like upon our heads, like, oh my God, we failed, and for them it's just like, oh, that didn't work, let's do the next thing. There's no emotional attachment to something not working out. They just move on real quick. And I think that's another great skill. I mean, it's an incredible skill or characteristic to develop, the ability to have a setback and then boom, start something new. Yes. So it's fantastic. So, yeah. Well, I just want to thank you and your family for sharing this time with us. With your permission, I'd love to share this with the financial freedom kind of community, with the team. This is the kind of stories that we love to hear, and you truly are, represent the kind of parent that we love to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to add for you to share it, and it was a pleasure to meet you. Such an honor. We're all so excited when we got the email to say you were interested in meeting us. So thanks for taking the time. We really appreciate it.
No, you keep
doing what you're doing. You're changing lives. It's so important.
Well, we appreciate it so much. So to you and your family, thank you so much. And let's stay in touch. I'd love to, there's a lot you've learned about working with your kids with this program that we can also learn and then reteach to other parents. So we'll stay in touch for sure.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Bye for now, Jerry.
Take care. Thanks for your time. Bye.